Malungil sir mer kami rokul journalist, both young and old ngartian. Akmal merenga suliu tial te al guk mo sab edel me. And I'm hoping el wasit yang mo te al el ask I get questions el ngararang miu. E kom am dangi tia hotel el gora public appearance ergi de ya ka television. Sira da di declare February 24 manmar elang en gora di i gegre londi la dongot mok lo misar at tia amral gora katingel te le del mera mass media television ma print makomal masaur tial al te al, so please feel free to ask any questions from your heart al girel tia akti swakalo o mu luaseng dimlakal beot el decision a black maker gil mutel mera murtel mora obisa president sera adgot el mombre kara 2020 2021 January ese gida ku kwal blel el commitment nga kama family nga kama dak luasetia mo lubong la the years of service el blada del arakabelment tamla mo ugunyang. Let me share with you luasegal na mo break el 3.5 years ang maral first time el ngari quality time nga kalobon tria nga lege kamar grandkids nga families and friends magel wable swad el motbok el direct el mal ngari teme del gutbok because running for office, especially the office of the president, certainly means ang direct el girem el sacrifice a quality time loban tria family raw. So that much akmal appreciate try gagidan. I guess ako tel questioner kami so kalbay answer ngil mor kami. Alawase mangara ko lebes ringi. Ngaram ka maramang. Ngaram dia ka dim retire. Ngara man so komil mutel mertial amt. Kilo ko dami ere president ng wagi karel adam ng malamol melkuk ngargi e kaum stay retired. Tiagi dati kadebel hensir nga kalmong. Ngotel fan sel dorwaibu le doli tagim. Da siya exercise el black ngargi. But I'll be very honest with you. Ay gal na mo mrekl rock and direct mal little by little. Yar adra direct me melgorgi del wase ay gal lomes ra kabelment, ay gal lomel aswara dalang clear, ay gal policies, may gal tutela policies, especially sel dungura adalang ok ma families ma asyungel adalang ok. Engwal direct digal makardang mal na mo mering ertir. Engwal direct lulumu lo lingitirgi del wase kami mo mes please kalel sabi emel mutal mora kapelmente ta sam ok like albatok do mes el girel sam agil. After all se lol goringar adrablu sa kapelmenta rarat girel masyo rarat. Dia kalsal belgula sa kapelmenta exist el gukti for the future. Ayegi da so kal share lobang kami uleng mlora point el dakal sabi del dioreng se top drabitara dingat. Direct el gire del mo o serious se ku koreng sula sa ngaram malon trirar at ngaram mal belgulay kallo sa dari. Kid of course as a fellow Palawan lobang kami direct lomes mangari ay gel direct lo mes sula sing sabi ela kabelmente el gut mok. Di sel blabol beto ar adro di mo kriya rubgula blu sila blu marangayas ka kombali petok la adel ngarablu luabla boy lolgit trigi del wasebong plus et direct nari amle saying ramal thousands of people amle saying repetition ay gida aku ay sirgi del waseglo serious kire del modong ok o mes mega decision ergid. So I wanna be open with you lo say gida tramal mle obrao de dabdabokol rauri makblokan saltra family ngak direct kansaltra ngalge kamar adal da kaumarang ikabul tigereng ingwablol tokol bena kasi at tokol bulu agire the sacrifice sa tokol ablit sometimes in this case kadamolo angklet luz makarior ada kalyor nga ka mga brother-in-law nga ka malubeng ngalagay kara President Whips. Alu sa makaryor, ayora ruba ka maudaswira bulu. Ika malmol mal respect each other, agil mol mal kaing sew. But in this case, public service, a decision or other blul mo make. And that's where we are. Makumari nga suli o talti al, agil ngidil questions mo. Thank you.
Nga kang klega Randy Rani, nga el altay mak nga ngel belaw. Matel ada kal salmo opting el wait tigal mo o gerager. Hindi kadamdangel sa ka madangabu, dem la senator, la vice president, president, el akam presidential candidate a third time. Ma selmolo sara business card. Ang rablo all mol arngi tel business card.
Public servant. Sige.
Malungil swelbe matangabud. Nga kang klaka alilay ringi, nga kang kila tabelaw. Kamilsa da kira la policies, maring la lang okle, tuubet silmora, younger families. Belaw ako raman mo experience ra klol dadul mong brain drain o emigration. Tokal nga legal belaw, tuwa dal mora, albulul mo siga a better living and housing. Kadikak mulwa sa nga if you're elected, do you have any plans to address the housing issues faced by young Palauans and their family? If so, what are they?
Okay, kaman sulang akarime. I think if I'm not mistaken, akarime ma-focus sa housing. Palemi lehale diktalit yang marat klo out migration ar ngaliget mal alarming. At that time ang alakatob der belaw lendia ka urerel. Malubeng motob der belaw lendia ka blil. Soal nga rin independent sel dalang aklel. Kadamleb all was let's find jobs for them or let's find housing for them. In this case, sel alarming sing aada nga rin blil, nga rin urerel, quitra urerel, true blil, move outside al mokyer belaw. Dia kadil housing au ular ada top der belaw. Mlamo housing, jobs, but most of all, indrangalil ada lang okre belaw. Siya la drive away arangal. And I think we have to be honest about that. Tirgam laram rigel direct run into at least 4 couples magkakarel at within the last 6 months at tamlakmit already government private sector temlamu adalang a clear marang ligil mamirigen. It's very alarming, mal serious problem. Segi atara gire dal omesirgil kasi kada makarang erulia conditions ma environment tra alsel belaw. Motel gibel beyote kabakak marada mo sa marial kay maloror en ania ina flududir el take care bil sertir maigel belsir and this still nga niya ududil made el guk misyo adalang a clear maigel obligations sa ngaligir. Yes, a housing rel ang atara a close issue. I plan to again I'll move to lo yaka government. Kasi sige a close nges rulin mo available el mo ngaligid mo sabiil direct mo la abliril. Ungil eyes, first of all, kasi betok praikal utom el buhay, amla return el mora state. Direct betok utom el rakablil, amla return el mora clan malubin. Ma role la kadara la pa imla mo available. El andi yor udod, el necessary mormu la gedo la sing infrastructure. Rumura rail el mora gigid el residential site, rumula sewer, remula power, mo sabira construction na housing al morgi. Direct lang mo ko ra blakatak lo kasi ay gal loan na lolto da housing, el ngara 45,000 to 60,000. Ana mo dia kat practical rulia imol decent tlung el ablay lebol da kieria a couple mal uweng adal ngari ang aligir. Mal lamo taka ro gultoy. Ngara bay sabi edel ku commercial bebira options. Labay na mo sa beedal marula apartments, maluwen duplex. That calls for a state, a private sector, ma family, ma bank, el mo partner e ruli sa igid el project. Ngwal bolu ula ada di mol ngwagis, so is para housing, wuk nga dinggirel nga rin capacity rin il pe bakartial el blal sa igid el blal bolungo. So el nga rin 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, kale luriur sa igid ang yakuk momdas ra individual private home rirat. Di right now yung mal nga kladimend, girel mre del rol, dongira state termula infrastructure, yung malmeo, malube dungum sa adal, wasit tialisar kaw, elo rura rael, mapower, malmring, it's gotta be something mo, ot maka resource, manpower arbekla de gut mukli. Of course, yung uspe although mga intend el move talo olingita bibira gel source kada siya nga rin kading ila gel 15 million na Taiwan al Milo ara housing mo nga siya at but that's not nearly enough for all time el book mula kadong odom that's at least double that amount in the government tamong alil loror ng mabang kal speak ay gigidal ngeso lol nga siya ada stala akle mention na private land ling hindi ka dilut mara state tas bedel our dalis. Sila programmer gidel direct mo ay gel mo clone ut mara kablil. Isel kablil matirigel lo ngara ay gel ut ma direct al sibil. Lo sisi to mortgage ri malu truly a plan lo bangelabang ka makabalment. Egadar mula housing say en sabira work other sel kablil el direct qualify mo or ay gidel. But site a problem housing financing a challenge gigita mo sa edal mo mag yung masutrir at mo mansaw.
Good afternoon, Presidential Candidate Remengesau. My name is Salvatore Tawalmay. I work for Palau Wave, owned by Salvatore Talams, Senator. There's things that are very, very familiar that are roaring in among the community. And I'm going to ask you the question, if you elected or getting to office, are you going to change the aspect of a PGST? In other words, is there any part of the PGST that you're going to keep or some parts that you're going to change? If so, what are those changes? What's your thought on that? Thank you.
Kaman saule til amal cloud to telel el grim aligulite brother kungeri tor belao len ngara rendir mal betoklade. Tial PGST, Palau Goods and Services Tax. Tiya yidi atara ngara iwusela rangalela dalang okra blur belau rokir. Mlarulia rala rogul toy masiungela dalang okra belau mangmadlamo takay emlamo meringel emlamo doal. Mang PGST sabi edal wasing too much too soon dimlakal giredal lo tuti ra mere edal time dimlakal giredal tuti luak lungel tiang ako tuluule to be fair and honest arangalela ra laklalor belaw a direct liora inflation na blue ladder rogiram lang mas aralak lalo ni including abelaw. Hindi abelaw adi akadiblel inflation na ong seklia aralada lang okla. Yung inflation ne kadungu tial PGST ngul lol dokyar bebul matiay gida ul man mal la mombring la aralak. Ya PGST brother kadi wasim le ngilas at 10%. Di marari adi akal ngilas at 10% ta aralak lalo. PGST atak sa 10% tra wholesaler lo musa klalo musil may musel 10% lo da kiala arala otrulelo ngora retailer am arar sa argi edregal girel pera 10% mungkul butol lo da kiar sel tra ngil morar adrablu. So by the time a consumer am arar sel klalo ngaratana, it's not just 10%. It's at least 20 some or 30% and in some cases ngara 40%. Likat mo consider a profit margin at yal naturally laklal mabebira cost Seya ula arala klalo, awa barasa mli ngara $20 some, elang ngara $56. That's not 10% increase. Arala ngay sa mli ngara $2, elan $7. That's not 10% increase. Arala kasra blur belaw, 100 pounds ang ngara $386 from it used to be 75 or $80. That's not a 10% increase. Ay gidi abay realistic arala klalo, arala dalang okle, liulong lamor baba, inflation plus at LPGST. Yes, malungila question rakal was what are you going to do about it? And the first thing wadoruri, adekal giri del tax akal ma medicine. Lekal ma medicine akar ay gida siungela aklangar siungela adalang okle mengkotel afektra adsel bom taksakal. Edimla kal taksakal rangaramong. Menggire del first and foremost ekadong ang iti ay del PGST tax rakal. Edire kal dekam tax sa medicine makar le ada dire close pe tiang sel al se malubang batangela uspe akar. Dire kal dekal gire del tax adengi maral masuwer. Ay kang follower sale S services. Ang services rakabalment, el gire del provide el basic service, el support adalang clear at. Hindi kang tax sa power, hindi kang gire mel tax sa water, hindi kang gire mel tax sa sewer. Alko kada tax sa PUC, dito di obul ting may lo ara edra bilir gif, yar adar ba belawa end up el haraw, maul maarala den gidi kyal mo daged, matogen mo digyal mo daged, malmed mo digyal mo daged. Masuwer mentigal mo daged. Ay gida ayel dulo asing muspaal ra everyday dalang a clear at service ra kabelmente kal gire del tax. A PUC asab edelo asing public corporation in clock clear other belaw. Ma PNCC hindi kal gire del tax almost pe ating wama service le tiak clock clear other belaw. Misel of lungu 10% rel al PGS dito direk nulo de kyala ara la biler git makadam oppe may gidi aplakatak lu direk luul makadam armur ara adra blu direk lemang la rendir el gire la igal imama deng ngar alela government to provide elang mlamo unaffordable mlamo de akal sebe edelo de geda bay gire del lo sikrolela government subsidize ra PUC, ma PNCC, ra ay del teletay. And we did this. Ay gadu rule siya lang atangaringi, siya talbol nga sa aralalu, kadak mura Minister of Finance, Mr. Sadang, kami do si kabebi raw do, di po da do kita mga other olbil, ito help ra PUC, siya arala nga sa klelalu, ngidilak mo lang sa ekla arala tayong kirara. Ma aral marara. May gigidan mlew ay siya gidan sabihin makat mo. Can we do it? Yes. Al sugumong priority ra otabadalela daw dar olbil masab akrarat, we will sit down with the olbil raklulaw and make sure ikata supplement subsidize igutmok lay gagi dalol nga sira adrabel. So coming in koramo teligibel kamangat hindi kaya the PGST is at the heart and soul rarangalela dalong okrablubel. And we need to make agel exemptions. El right off the bat, kadoror gidem olbil, el dekal girel el taxar other belaw. Egu komesa igel bebira se eder gukol masongos, malube kada adjust, malube kada modify, el guk mo klela tanang clear. Di right now in kotlo brao del morar wikla. Direke brao del dekal girel el taxa personal belonging sa adal ngaray krel belaw el mer belaw. Oblora kwam igukibluar nga radam aramal kal ang klal molabel may for your personal consumption hindi kal gire del tax ID marangal ge nga amrigel otrablirir en mamlirir trail merbelaw almera porte kada tax ma ayus tel lirir ma furniture tir ma TV ma whatever household ay ge kal gire del muru igada ka bolol traw bay may help para dalang clear kadambreng asulin la return home. So, ay gigida right off the bat, ang gire del otto, jakal gire del mengurusira ad malube the discourage tir lakal lutel me komen ay gagida bebir aswadal mention leng sam agil gire dal mosit town gidam olvi lemre dal gutmok Mandia kadim samariar tial tax refund kom direct lumbay mo selva akla aralak lokliura arangalela tarak.
Malungin swelve former President Mother Ngabukoto. If I may, I'm gonna ask my question in English. Oh, mosu vesak malgora na mo sa mariar. Ngakaklara dilay ni gumrang termete ta kubunggel TMC. Ooy. Ela tegi da karik. Sir, July 10, Wednesday was the presidential press conference. Based on the information and given and discussed from said press conference, drugs are making their way into the hands of the youth as young as elementary students. My question is, what are your actions? What actions would you take to ensure that our youth avoid the pitfalls of drug abuse?
Kaman saw le Mr. Betet, loger tilang le tilay atara ako tel lobrao de dabdabo ko le cloud to telel issue malubeng kat magil el black and steer ar betok la other velau, especially our parents el ngaringar ngaligir like you said young age and ditam mo de kadilo spe a marijuana tanamo spe ay gaygital el hard drugs, especially methamphetamine arwa ice. It's very sad, first of all, selora legal bekelbulu. Almost everyone na kira legal honto. Amalungil madengel wasing truata nga mlamo involve ra oturulel mauspelle legal drugs legal bulu. Obor ng along, obor ng mau, obor ng rard, obor ng iwal, obor ng esar, obor abililyo, obor orior. Arada di madengel wasing ngariya oturulel legal klalo. Ruata nga involve ngi ruata ang algira ruata nga uspe ay kam. Including our toklo level beklat marbebirigit. A question na singaram malbatak man. Sadly, mal mo yasui. Selbol beto ka amount traigal klalo remur trablu en drive down the price. Bela ka daw madangel wasing atenda la amarara imol hitra ais malubeng methamphetamine marka. Tial tendala sab ela adel di mora elbe otra dori pounds el dir 25 book lamo afford ringi meng yasui ebetok namo accessible we see the results ra aigal events namo dubra aigal namo breakbuil. I think we all know lasing ngania involve accident mako dalirar up sadly involve ay kagid lus pa lela amakitel kar meng selko telgire del mokri. Of course, as stop ay kal drugs from getting in. Elaka matay urerira police, our customs, our other nga border, trial stop. Di ka madangel kasi even then indiregal di sois. Ngaria rumar kak kal klalo, mo me kal klalo raw riul, ngaria rumar traigel sensitive pa departure tir, yola belopsis. Driel meringal la stoba o sisabelel. Yes, concentrate at the border, but at the same time, do something meaningful and effective ra o tutela ra sila belu. In other words, sira nga ringi mlaringi drug task force. Lurur tringa director, ma imol other AG nga ringi, mar police officers, el dia kangod lorul. Did go after these drug dealers? The ministry raw daw, sabiil mru la controlled by, sabiil ospera informant, sabiil mususyaw ay giro rogul tretal mo ulit tabastara. to me say kita tara laking rel ara al sela ablu ra selwal community enforcement sector. It doesn't help, I'll be very honest. It doesn't help sel nga rin director rablia pulis. El off island de kita nga ra autopilot. Ay kita bebir ra atrengs ra arbulis el wasing moral raw ra mal down and diakal blakatak lasing kadamral girel gere tao ngara alay galurio. May kita igel direct bebir ra it's a standard SOP operational procedures el gida make sure gel nga ratap gida a serious en nga effort ringi matembel supervise aurior el borar adang nga area mang yes tiang dia kal sabel di overnighting mo matbok but we really need to have a focused a determined a well-funded operation el involve tigay del manal nadangi tetele laurior en mo sabe el story ala que sadly it's just getting out of hand. I have to admit it was a tiamal serious problem misulang.
Good morning, Mr. Remengesau. My name is RJ, and I work for TMC Palau. I have a question regarding the power outages at PPUC. So as we observed the past few weeks, there have been power flux and power outages. Due to this, people have been questioning the reliability and management of PPUC. What steps will you be taking to improve on this situation?
Clau tutelel taraygel sa edel wasen taraygel prompting issue luul mo kada direct mo seriously mo consider mo murt mal problem ra batok laaf arala dengi maral masuwer amla mo dekal makarta kapera arala dengi rgaw langar ogi makluk aus lela dengi rgaw emo pera kung fuel charge lul makar de sel dengi el gu clora dengi el mumos beringi and then on top of that in 10% ra ay gal tablong al directly edergil mora a charge kara dengi so ay gide brother gel el wal iusel la rangalela dalang oklo dengi maral masur. Now what can we do about it? Sel kotel black telia dekal gire del mutel PGST el go the tax they're just gonna come back and transferring in morabil or adrablu. A first order of business el kumda se kada motmok ringi se magarang board ra PUC ma management ra PUC ma office ra president ngutial mo priority mung bekkel sil dito sa ringi kid mar other olvira klulaw until we come up with an answer el mo ule kada ngo swira PUC ra igel lospe hindi kada ngo sutri ra adra blu ra igel kat magil sa maklela la mal ubeng ngo tutela palesira PUC the perhaps is el most el solution el mortal problem a solar brat we need solar letiaya blaring study rigil wasing makarang adra kat tri other belaw raus lel maarala denki ya solar power amne number 1 el ngara list lo asen gire de lo rol gire so we did sira era the merek en largi sel combalira en gira France el wablol sebe el mesois e gut beklia un solar power los pe a batteri en skida udo del gut bekli tia rogir lundimo kringia o rula a solar panels. By the way, get solar panels. Am legirel mod order a public land ra nekeng. Mandi akal necessary do rent at mirar at legirel igal solar panels. Si am ledil. Unfortunately, mlode akabol tokoy sa igid le NG. Yataram le kotulungil mletletelel sa igid arrangement. Alu Iraq el loba NG lorur tertial el solar power generating company kada uspe asil sa malom sa uspe abatteri ra evening. Hindi kada talakay di 18 cents sa ulangila denki for the next 20 years. Hindi ka langasara for the next. Yaklung yolel sel after 20 years. Eng meklo clear ar other belaw mo klalo kabalmenter belaw. El atial system rel al gukto ba ada ka dodi tiang melmol el clock mo ingrang mo clock lelar other belaw bang mo kayasui. I'm really serious about getting in there and move to meser tial arrangement mal ubet tial contract ang agreement el direk kar other belaw misang. Akadam lagi ra other olbi lemendirek el kwadir ka kamal ngaral lo ay sirgi del wasing tial guk arrangement ng ngaring ngwang ratetele ndim la mo time el gire del sigi akombali lemeng makarkli solar power generating capacity el mo uleng morio ara la dengira other belaw sabel synchronized malubeng at terahertz make raigal electrical juice remurtra al selaigal sing mung diakadil matmata dengi ilang our understanding as sel switch mo o solar eng awana voltage raigal sing ngarngi ma voltage ra solar ngod voltage raigal fossil fuel generated power mung di off di automatic off ra mung Hindi ako dagel wasing makarabo the solver say hindi tial kumbali am lalingit ta 15 million na kabalment el lomarapat teri mung ko mo asar mo do lasit kubi ko ngaral kumbali giri ngaria capacity kami rulitial system ela kan maalingit tangi sa other belaw lomarapat teri el mo bail out tial el kumbali mung direk el gire de lo que era olbi le lo hace camger lo hacen mal telanga akabalment maluin PUC per tial kumbali el mo generate tial solar power ba adonsis then diakal make sense if you recall 2-3 months ago ikadang kumlo gire del mo mabil ergi del 4 cents sa increase ra adeng girgit al kumlo title sel charge as a solar charge doesn't make sense ngam kadamo na solar mo by increase rather than decrease sa power. Ay gagita bebira questions rightfully and gira other belaw loger. Kung nita olbi baldirek lumusugi del meraigang ngitra kabalment malotop daikal information. Bol sabi del madangel wasing. Marawunan hindi madaldula ka appliances sa other belaw. At tibirtir ma ice packs ma simbugi dim lamadul hindi kal synchronized hindi kal atteraigal we need those answers. I wish anexel kuk adra using adra kabalmental may to ko mo gera ka gidel gere hopefully nga niya right answer til mo. But ako mo gera nga kasi kita kami the rule solar. Magrekla solar le say kita tital mo ula arala den gire bela mo amorio. And that's a commitment kirela olbira klulaw President, Governors, marupugul belaw, el motma ke adadu ringi emral siki selungil mo bakliap lur belaw. Sulang.
Remengesau. My name is Jill Senior. I'm from Roland Productions, and my question is in regards to China and the implications that you are inappropriately associated with them. And what do you think about President Whip's statement that China will meddle with our elections?
Malungil grime Chile, mi señores. Am glad que como quieren ir tianglen. Miguel bebira to el celebra dingaden malvade regif. It couldn't be further from the truth. Umeseng directly borderline on irresponsibility, but dishonesty, not being honest and truthful about what the real situation is. Having said that, tirgay gidel kuk malgol was tami galelo karang malubak mo. I think ang gira daloger tilwa se ko bay sarang yung mga dadu always. Ngaral information o molap, ngaral facts o molap. May malakad na kay tuweta igagidal tukoil mong yabe. Tial dalwil lergida mataiwang, ablil establish sergia President ko ni Nakamura. Raw era bol marekal nga raw. This last year in office ay. Gita amle Vice President. Kadamil ngal wol weringi mo mereka Nakamura. Kadamol 8 years President tan mga wol weringi. Enguk mo Johnson Toribong, dire kalmil ngal wol weringi. Kadamul talmol President 8 years tan mga wol weringi. Hindi ako dagel wasing a track record nga kang koram lo budulger mo kom koramal lo questioner ngirela. This election is about the people of Palau. Klau tutlela dosao daigal rangalela dalong ok, maigal issue the face or other belau, my reality it. Gida dia about the secure at the wheeler at Taiwan ma a close now. Dia kadabod all tao the swedel gidet. Hindi kita matangel wase ngaringay gel ledul tuiringi mo sa lila at Taiwan. Mainly democratic principles, ma freedom, ma value a sovereignty ergit. Kadamlo mega decision wase Taiwan a hotel the share tokol tokoy in common. You become friends with people because you have similarities, ma values ergido, ma principles. May kaya ata dultoy rangaramol be, tial government telam direkal di malamol may gel duru. Kuk tiap udengel wasing araw ul mo amru lay kay kita lul talak. But again, I think we should stay with the issues albangalel velaw ko toil to get us away from the real agenda, the real issues of the day. But a track record nga is clear. I gave la dadak kita mataiwang ya kutmokli amal clear kada mal appreciated dir tial besel PRR tial ngara nga malala tia dimle gidan mo adura president na Taiwan eng mol nguduli ngul merbelaw within 1 year at makadarur tial ko sel matamala economira belur belaw luay sira ukul boring ya gel lendia tial epidemic ra covid ada kal katengel gora emergency economic situation el double merbelaw beto ka direct na close sa Morio at tourism mga rang and Taiwan is always the first to cook me ebelas out. But I want to stress tarato lulugor niya Nakamura, malugor niya Johnson, malugor niya malugor niya Rutokla. Palau is friend to everyone and enemy to no one. Dia ka bilgula sa kata sa Taiwan all of a sudden di ka cooperate kalabang kila China. Lengarang. At China member of United Nations. At China is one of the superpowers sa lupa. China direkal donit tirtir mbol il partra answer a climate change, a global warming. At China tara directly invest ra technology ma bebira to ra rule. E direkal omun merbelaw ngaring businessmen erbelaw direct ngaring ungil business deal secure lobang kila China. Thanks to Taiwan, thanks to China, thanks to Japan, thanks to Korea, material friends ergit, engang sa edal book maliakra government ma private sector relationship. En segida girel la osangedal girel ato. Then we cannot deny the fact that Jilel was direct mesa investment tra China, el ngarbelaw, mesa investment tra Korea, ma Taiwan, el ngarbelaw. Kada bayo si Krole lang mukla investment tra Brikel, el ngarbelaw. Then tirgaya friends ergid. Hindi akadil tokoy ra government. Siya sokal emphasize. Tokoy ra directly friendship ra private development ma collaboration. Climate change, may gero kuy te alara. I will say this to clarify. Kid, ade ada agree that any illegal activity, no matter where you're from, el besois from the asum tangaria ara close sina, el besois el makita intention, they're not welcome in Palau. Just like the same with Korea, ngaria makita intention or Korean businesses in make, they're not welcoming. And for every friends that we have. Di dia abuk soal mo cleaner gitu was a track record dari kita consistent kada friend ra Taiwan lang nga amlel uli kada establish a friendship, and we need to cultivate improve on it mulan more partnership. I don't know what else to tell you, but I think that's the answer. Okay.
Ali, presidential candidate Remengesau Jr., one of Janis Palau Wave. Next question. One of the major policy introduced by this administration is the marine spatial planning, which is a 100% managed ocean. This is in contrast to the Palau National Marine Sanctuary. Ngarawal duswe meligirel tiang. Thank you.
Kamaran Masau, the till I sell mal maliw ra rendira betokal fishermen like me. El petigar mudra belau, makadamangal wall wa the bel ma tamel belau. Not so much for us, but really for the next generation. Tial MSP, Marine Spatial Planning, ang ngil concept, ngil toy where it needs to be applied. I'm sorry, may malaka mobile apply ngi ra alsela at the belbelaw, especially tial Marine Sanctuary. Lengarang. Tial wase kada mo open ra the belbelaw 50% tamo sa beedel nga eringi. Agirel 2 questions at okay. Kada marurungil girir arwatang, etrwatang mo benefit ring. Itrigidel dorul girir truatang, marwatang mo benefit ra, tialom rule girir tigel. If the answer is both Palawans, akongay. It's not. Tial mo open ra Marine Sanctuary, 50% ring. We all know lasing mo target ra foreign commercial companies. El tatama FIB business at Tirbelaw, and still ay mo foreign fishing vessels. Matirgay di amo get the most value tialo manget, whatever little tax or fishing fee bol pegay gid amo matergi. Now, a question is how much is that money kalel tiakalel san makludo de gidala ka take advantage. If you look at the track record ra o manget ra igal foreign companies, yeah, quote close fishing field blah $1.7 million. You add in a few lamakora baby ra lomar klalo a local market. The finance department will tell you wasing langara 2.5 million at the most. I get wasing side benefits malubing ngora ne uchira at yalo mangedra fishing foreign fishing. It's peanuts. 2.5 is peanuts. Lengarang. We are getting already 8 million Rabek Karak. Ilbelaw a member of parties to the Nauru Agreement. Ulmatomaskit seludo the gidel. Guk nga rin roller gidel. Mga wall. Makrola igal. Ngigla iga migratory. Watu nama. Bebira. Ngigla amo. Ang artial mo maklo. Guk maran marawa martial. Ma FSM sa gidel. Nangara eringi. Ito guk Michael. Di. Tomski daw do. Only because kata kaduguk nga sel conservation aspect nga sel okurule like alto. So for no fishing blue bela mola 8 million, that's a lot of money. But here's the most important thing. Aigal Marine Sanctuary adia ka aka gineng ringi. Dia ka fence malokaigan. may galing igre lang abay namik medra belu. If you talk to the local fishermen rangar along, mga angal mo angar mau mga rar. Ay galing igre lamik medra belu. Mung aureral re lang abay digire del mafat for fishing aggregate device and Milo Arakel. Ay gida ay galing igre mo mga taway gay. Itirgal local fishermen ang masaer tertira di malmal tal mora fats matootak lay gidel whatever pelagic or tuna yang bain melo tra la local market gidia a benefit ra locals benefit ra food security gida rather than meng atara mo do bokol girel tial lurior abay wasi kada magarang itirgal local fishermen ada elevate capacity tir memoria adilir malubeng operation tir kumbali tir el sabil mo merit material ngi gale el traor ngi locally mabebi la mo so edel ship the sale open it up for foreign commercial fishing entities meka dugul ngit tir ngi kadam la traor ngi di milara $6 out of every $100 leng 96% tra value rangi gala tilo der belao edimle 6% tra value rangi gala rueb tra Pacific Islands tiabe sa study lulungot mo kanya SPC meng MS tial Marine Spatial Planning amal di atter raigel almalela blue le state tadi 12 miles Akransel may get resource area to protect mangrove inside the reef and outside the reef menggire the law spare say gidel MSP detail de bela blur bela ambring om dura adial om ngel masali kedim kedi ngara el mon mosel over 50% ko ko bulte maralme it's not enforceable it's not doable ida yel illegal partra fishing technique el mlaringi rangaramo el mutel quarantine morngilin bringer kita a cover a water area the size of Texas. Most people don't realize la setial de belbelao 99% traklung el belao kita di 1% land. The 99% ta ocean. Etial ocean ergida waklung el Texas. Almost 600,000 square kilometers. Nandiya kalgekarel il tokoy hindi sukum konomda sura a livelihood ergid ma food security ergid elang komda sura a future ngalget level maklo el dir kalngari ngi kel ekgedel masapak kertial loruria marine sanctuary finally tiam lo ya kala gilt maklia arubugul belaw direct sorry gilt maklia adra olbi raklulaw mlolla ekatasaying ri hindi direct libudul maraklay marubugul belaw agit makli salong lelabul elwasit tiang direct kalmobul tablol traditional ma a legal enactment tertial el PNMS. So to suspend ringi hindi al girel dirulala suspend ringi. Dire kal girel dulungil cancel tra arubukul belaw mar other belaw dire kalong ang itial bul letya dire kalong bul lo ya kapul. Komeng ang korak tribal kamang but I think girel mo will understand why are we doing this and who are we doing this for? Sil bodungil and sirayge ikadal amom tigil wasin kale lakalungil time dong ititigiri by the samel lutel malmo otoka resource marine resource rabalur bela takadil girem giriran algem ma atal role dir kamaralmi ata sulang
times. Question sir, a question na lang ka regarding Thomas ang kurabato ka campaign events ra off island ngara mainland makwam saibal ngaraw da swim ilgira la off island voting da swim la mo time the berbelaw thank you sulang
just right every citizen or belaw agiril exercise ri nakakukumral was if anything at all in malgire del no si krole le kada maximize sa turnout rar ngel belaw. Now whether they stay in the US and boat or they in Palau kada blo lo rengel was tirgal ngalge da ul ta boat ab tigaran rir belaw tirgal ngalge da ul mungil boat future tira blur belaw tirgal ngal geda ul mungil vote atarak lebset tamer belaw tirgal ngal geda ul mungil vote ngalam tira konstitusyon ra blur belaw mang yes atara time gudulla babak sel mora ay krel belaw lol daged karar maybe in the minds and heart ra our leaders ito kasi diak erekom di senkyol absentee balot mang teligibel maring el etituo ko len betok abo terbelaw get lost malu diakal get counted len di processing mo diakal vote. But if your question is do they still need to vote, I would say yes. Mal gire del momal aswal was o vote hindi ka di vote raat o vote gire man madangli ngil ule ka vote raat. In other words, know and study and learn more about what's happening in Palau. Misal obom senkyo ebungil madangi. El lang nga ngil tretelela communication. Akpay mo matigir niya all grilo as tigal nga ikel vela pay masaw dra a PGST masaw da toera letirga ding arsay mo da dura adrab lirir mar bebir tir mar se lirir rabe kilsils algo kita ding artiang ko lertir was modurok la bebir audo del may modurok la kal modurok la ngara mangral may tabay message til mergida kasi some aklitial PGST agi ngara krerbela dia kas amal mi saikal long mi or other bela okay sula clean.
Summer, I'm from Island Times. Were there any issues or what really ignited you to come back again and run?
Sel again sel malo bradra arngude o bradra ndia adal bela blata la swar atia yidel toera dalong okle rangalela dalong okle ma rangalela arala klal totokol titwokol toer el ang as a result tra standard of living ra adal bela gukman na mo or babe na mo unaffordable seguide akunda singara rendira toklade tokor gide sisa dia kalsada al masao dringi gidar other bela ko tal proud but I can tell you this a Bank of Hawaii ma Bank of Guam am law ay sergi dal wase a savings ar other belaw am la mo gegere lengarang ar other bela di withdraw savings tir allotment tir rat check adir really o tir clear a following week al mol mutal withdrawing hindi ka maral savings I'm sorry hindi ka dimlak ngail mer el all time but maybe you can ask finance they'll show you was a total overall savings sa blur belaw Rigel savings sa kumbali mar other belaw legal issue FIC FIC ay umumi sa graph imla all dangalengal el 2023 it's so small compared to mora au era PGST say indication or say mlamo gekre savings or other abela or ada kadil individuals makumbali mang yes tiay gida kundas ang number one issue gid luul makadame hindi o issue timing ngari agel lada the discussion tiang at ko era drugs at direct mal alarming at ko era guru la direct mal alarming at sorry ra at direct sa clear hospital to ko era education man direct sa kakmosyer lo kami ay luul kada so overall en ay gida issue mora senior citizens mora PUC ay gida gel issue nga rendir arbeklat en wabla lolngi tergide kita direct lo mes lo ase oy we can do something about it ngage sisa dia ka recruit to come back ngakarmurt to come back and make a difference. I want to make that.
Okay. Question presidential candidate. Ngania toil kora mlamadung ulwase kamla mo telal times and rutan mo president tanda kalom tora constitution kita atr belaw ma kam kwati miskita ul swemel gidel se gidel dato marari al time.
Sing melmutel ande. Tiagid gida saka di assure gida lo asen dia kata porato koy lim gorok kul morato koy. Sel porato koy ngire del bosubi lo asen tiang sabel ndiak. Let me assure you lo asen kadam la mo meser tial issue dia kadi langak. Ar adra la al dul ngit tir adim la mo meser tial issue ra angaramong nalmutel mo meser ngi tiang mal sabel katbok. In fact, ta konstitusyon mong bay mal kong el wasen sabel. Mungil mo kom law race ringi Mr. Clay. Sabegal mo provide ayel committee report ra kangkan. Ilbay o ti wasen ngaram level kul ti ay gidal. Section ra konstitusyon na lolo kabay man diakam serve more than 2 consecutive term. Di siya dimla kaldul wasen ra alselak lang arakaw. Hindi luluasin no more than 2 consecutive term. Hindi obombrek, kuklut sa milmera uri, ulang choice ar adra belu, ulungoy kaul mong, ese dia kalumtok na konstitusyon, mag-clear na arse. Ilan din will, lakapol file agay, se katabay, say baudo, the adra la mo benefit, but I can share with you those documents. Para we have looked at it and sabihin,
And the simple question na nga ka, you're planning for 8 more years or after this winner ilang yung muktawan or alubeng? The 4. Thank you.
Olga, brother. Ariat ko pero kasi hindi ra ka po to siso yung lamang masaka taray krel tial kumpora kamakal ka ko ay sa story ra brother ko mara rudim titim tiya dilo ngaliar adang long inauguration ngira first time win en bol momodo du amlet tingela kasi kumal masaw lar adang long la angoy tak ang lang ngoy kak for ay kal maral mele ay rak tiya hotel sil serira hotel tiar adar dirum lo maramle mis spoke aluben ka mal kasi ka ang DL angak mrenga suliw ra another 4 more years. To answer your question, I want to get in and get out as soon as I can. Atara sakal mo clean pero kasi mal important el samok lay gay del policy lugum nga niya next Vice President, balubing kukamo dal sabi me malamol for the good there are other way out. And then I'm very glad to step. By the way, Olga,
This will bring back to the topic regarding the youth. So I have another follow-up question regarding said issue. In the Rebukul Belao Traditional Leaders Forum, session 3, in Ms. Madalsar Ngiraingas's presentation, she showed statistics and responses from the youth regarding the issues that they experience firsthand. Among the issues presented were drug abuse, mental health, and the lack of a cultural sense of belonging. Now, my question is this: as both an influential figure in politics and cultural councilship, what is your personal take on the issues posed regarding our traditional leadership having a stronger presence in the upbringing of our youth?
Challenge albang algirar youth. Amad neswakar sel presentation Ramad Al-Sara kasi our youth are asking themselves, do we matter anymore? You know, to answer your question first, I made ko share with you. Alwase ngakadi bil el way elang. El namok ko to kargik. Ngakamil el enlos pa el mal aswarte ay el challenge el albang ya youth. Makadamlot ma ka youth belao if or malia kongres mampasram alla alulia March 15 maulmang Youth Day. Ako siya mal proud lo ay amle tokor sel time awase ngara kom laru liar magyakarel adam kadamru raw imol silsel mo halidel anor kami lengari sel tokol wase earn your stripes el tokor bel egidal kondira kada earn a stripes sergid my answer my plea was always focus on the youth and don't start until they are already old balum tiyum dem dula se kami youth. The youth begins yesterday. Mal sabel ngari contribution ra magikarel adal. A problem ra youth rel ang they don't have a sense of belonging. Dungura syugang lamom itu ta aldabe ra youth. El ang agel sisil aldabe ra gal bulu tirgel mala grant, tirgel mala form themselves ngarang klel youth ra bulu emblau do the tirgi de abay mru la clean up ra bulu matbok ra bulu mru la activity ra youth tirgel aldabe ra gal bulu awal bla motit el morasait mang segi de atara challenge el giri ra rubugul belau malu bay gal bek state el mut el maliba revive bay gel ngar lirar mgekrel at lengaria state el dirigam sisi a youth organization tir Misal lang nga albanglela bulu dia kadil kameldi ma longot mo krablu malurol bulu malngarang klel etiria mentor tirigelo olir mgegrela di selbon itu tayegi de katomo ela kada malul tuira iglesia legal Christian Youth Organization sa kay da pa ikora umistri activity ra angalge direct ay gal NGO el ang abay mlamos tatel merula transfer Aigel dulo aseng knowledge ra elders el mortirgal gegrey. For example, one reef abay also is akrangal kail ara again knowledge ra bakal o malas el boss mga. But that's a non-profit organization. I'm laying this out on the table let mlamo time ngaringi ministry ra youth, ma senior citizens and culture. Silal di sa igid al ministry Adia ka klung yolel desar el alsils. Ar all the age angar eungel hospital disel borse retira mesti attention. A youth di imol olela miduls el chibra youth division dia ka budget teringil dia ka secretary ringi. Okay? A cultural dia ka focus tirang sa LRR ma oliu tertian knowledge ma gel dulasen rangkel dal sa alel malubing gel lungil sel mora next generation el akadam lamom dangel wasi maybe siya taramo gire del mut revival ministry ek murtir mtamo milisi ay gel loya ka aldabe rablu milisi ay gel loya ka NGO milisi ay gel loya ka non-profit organization milisi ay gel lo ngotmok la iglesia milisi ay gel lo ngotmok la government nding lamo girel coordinated ng anya focus ra Aktingu Orior, for example, Orior lang ang niya Sons of Surior. Elbay motmok la Aurela Ministry, Tumrula Rwa Youth Forum, emsaw the issues will affect our mgekerelat, which is good that tumla take matters into their own. Di maraniya igigita girel nga niya baging ra akabelment ma arubugul belaw ma akabelment ma abeklalat. That's what it takes. It's going to take a village to raise a child. Ngoria ima del beklat. Reality elangan I might add. Our parents eladi ngoy titiar ngalgir. El mora school. Our sensei are expected the Lord is akl. Character education. Babysitter till skill year-round school calendar. We need to have some quality time. Ilguk ngoy titir tigalbuy ko sa akartira to ko mngeth. Makukul sa akartira to ko ra asers. Malugalo siya sa akartirat. Some other skills raklangar maungil character. Right now they really need a lot of a sense of belonging kasi ngara contribution nga kalmora ang aral activity ra community.
Tora youth ma akmo dapat bagi sila na ongedel bura 1986. Sir Omgester kamam bereng esar sel kotel youth day Rabulu belaw ang esa sa mga kawarnor basta ka kadiri am lor murte lupang kamam time Ako rin sir ka mate ko ra apay na mo sa kal sing apay withdraw ko. Mura arungu kay kal arungu kurang sa nakara tutaw malo ba sila aktiklera aong erul maswa ka tida ka rin maldi simple. Sukum kamgil sela tarak ranan 2025. Ngraigel ay malmaklaw tutlel toy ilka omdas wala singkit magil ikamungot mo.
Tokay gal bodosao de miduls el merarngi adia kal dula sia presidenta dingil tanga mogutmok lang mo ngarale el presidente el kansal te urolo bangela olvira glulaw kansal tra rubugul belaw mas state governor se kad motmak motko igang, so we really need good people in the Senate and the House. Digam la duli tilang mak sel again ngulagering kay gidel ngal kula sengara igel mal priority ra ul makam arbur tam hotel logel nga sengara igel sa MLD bre at the time utmok lang te gidel toira PCST ni ul sa mal sam agil gired el mre del gut bukli ngwaigel kulgo ya akal lamal lamo o priced out of range ar batok laad dire kal affecta school program hot lunch program for example kotem lang mo da program raskura o makararangal kali lang mo dia kakal apply dire kal affect ra au rate ra kal maklungila kal the surber ngira school segi del tora siungila dalong ok lang malswat el mere del gut mutli I think it's doable kal tora mention na school madik mere del really southern mere del change at year round calendar move tal mo traditional system nga niya summer ngal ka school mo sa bil cook spend a time laban 3 hour adra lirir cook learn other character development malubang activities lol mo siya ratalang clear at iyay to ratrak sa dire taramal immediate ludo rural let's revive correctly adrak enforcement kabisyon el mare del ko after ay kal kitel karel al mal na motok MD rutra al sela abalur belaw unda say gay gida direct tial tokora gurul the southern mare del was we really need to focus prioritize ang esol mora gurul mo o selva aklar ndira ade moringa confidence tir el was ada bora gurul ndia ka dito bong naka-confidence tilo asi kadamlo ngosutrir akmung klangara lumiklam ng tilak klangar ay gigi dia awal girel memre dal lureral ay galudu dire Moses ar adra ablu marwa SS marwa pension ma retirement yes ngospe audo dandi kami ako adi ulagera gere dirga katar kami uloger na kalwase ay kang kaduk mo la baudo derger lola bel mo kerdi i katek ngosutria adra blura denki ngosutria adra blura aralakal mangaran di mo smika audo derge so maybe namo time el bay ku ay sergi dalwase tial PGST tax ngoda ra PGS sel GRT le GRT 4% resell o mo sisibia kumbali. I say, o mo sisibia 1 million and 4% ra 1 million. O mo sisibia 20 million and 4% ra 20 million. So kung revenue ra kumbali 50 million or 70 million and 4% ra say gidel 50 million. And that's a lot of money. Kaya karelo percentage el atya luula PGST aala ra kumbali mang minus ay gel business profit tax. Expenses. Ruer obom haratak sir. Mangaraygel el deductible sir el ara kan klol kumbali. Bad debts. Igel blal sel mora kumbali asabil dodaktak in minus ra tax sel. Cash donations. Igel donations sel mora sports whatever community igel esya mangrang communication expenses. Yellow spe akong bali PNCC ditak. Employee expenses. Rogul salaries employee, my SS contributions, retirement, my health contributions, IGL minus. Contracted labor, my equipment, rental expenses, IGM. Depreciation expenses, for the minus. Fuel expense, gasoline, diesel, for the minus, IGL uspe akong bali. Government license, my permits, my charges, mga direct minus. Interest expense, mga minus. Insurance premiums, mga minus. Inventory expense, mga minus. Legal, advertising, mga auditing expense, mga minus. Training expenses, employees, mga minus. Rent expense, mga minus. Repairs and maintenance, mga minus. Utilities, electricity and water, makumbali, mandakalap. Si LD minus ay kiril uspe. So what does this mean? Even though we ala at 12% net profit, diesel o minus ay gagita rogui. Tiadik medal zero, 12% track medal zero, dia ka impact ringil tax and miracle. So I will make a statement right now. Tial PGST, am laruli ay gal maklol kumbali, ang haraw agay tax before PGST versus al time ng harap PGST. Because ay gaigid business deductible expenses. Mal bader rangap, bader talk other belaw, sil dosaw dalwa siya close business ang apet 12%. Yes, hindi 12% atela nga operi. When you pay 12% 100 tala or 100,000, it's a lot less than 4% ratelan millions. And that's the reality, and that's the sad thing. And I'm surprised hindi mlakatar kami girel maybe hindi ka mo dangalilo sa tiagi da part of tiyan. Di ka dilingin sa aklab taksa kong balin mo 12% from 4 to 12. By mal lilim lang mo klo deductions ra business expenses. Siya ul tax ra bulur bela or elang alol taka orngi arbay basaw dudir mar adrabul. We're paying our tax and more high prices ra goods, services, akal ay gaigida bal karawdo del sois brakabalmet. It's not coming from the big businesses. The big businesses are practically paying nothing. I'm sorry to be able to tell you this. The tiagida iusel tial PGST. This is why en gire del reform esum akli. Egeludo del giril haraw abay turn around the government tewad haray gaigid losbe. Why should the adrabelaw adrabelu pelmel madenggi masuwergi a big company ay gel taksira mo pega. It's not fair and should not be like that. Any society ad expect ringi luasing close sisbalelaw do the harat close tax. Emrael men ang ario aududir gudu persel sa etem. This is completely turned around. I'm sorry, tiagit ako tel father rangak, and really it's why I'm running again to correct tiagit el pumesengi yang dia kal malmal, dia kal lungil basul, limbergi dar other bela.
Kamle mention sa rato ko rawa youth ma cultural question na nga ka girel talbi organization ra government if gawin ng multiple mo president you keep it as is, or are you going to do some more rearrangement, perhaps sa mga before, or some other new reorganization?
كمان شاولة أولجري إتناشيلو بنجدلو as one of the first thing البدورو للموت restore a ministry ra youth ma senior citizens ma cultural ada ka bodong mo real mas community and cultural affairs ding by willable ministry of youth senior citizens and cultural affairs mo الموت الموريا focus ra youth ma ma culture git Muda ka lang nga yung sel tara ministry. Overall, I want to share this with you. Sa tara, a criteria of being a president or a leader. Agirim lo ranks. Girim lo accept recommendations or ath. Nga ka, I don't claim to know all the answers. And I'm not a scientist or a economist, malubak, I know everything. But what I can assure you all, I plan to organize a team and sabiil mo part ra a decision making ergith. Like mo subil was how do we make the government more responsive? Ilmora alang lirma o the swira other belaw. Kada makarang mo ngil mo remula legal service mong modiakal sal tetewa ay imol ministry malugut maluting guk makarang parok na rebir a ministry nguk morngi ang alir tangla ko ra adiakal ngara resume malugut diakal ngara job description para all of this I will need advice but I can assure you the 3L required to any leader. Sel kotel ele olgril a listen. You see? Ongerul el a listen. Ongedel el a listen. Ay gigil tril toil olgum kamo mas emal apply. I think that will constitute a good nga ngartial share ay galudusweg and di palibes admit mas the captain of the ship is only as good as the crew. And if the crew perform well, then the ship will reach its destination. Say gidi abuk concept tergida.
Remengesau. My name is Astoria from Island Times. So my first question, you answered during your introduction. That was tax on medicine and food. My second question was answered because it was the same question as Mr. Uludong's. So my third question is during your time as a public servant in office, what policy are you most proud of?
Can it be a decision rather than a policy? Policy-wise, batok, to be honest with you, I can think of several. Let me say this, di mlaka policy di mlengakeng motokoy. Ayel policy no sabi del gutmokla, amra luleka 3 C's. The 3 C's are commitment, consultation, collaboration. Ay gigidam level oil gutmokla atoy ang motokoy. Tiali gara Palau National Marine Sanctuary took the 3 C's. Commitment, consultation, collaboration. Maraul mo klaw to trail tial lomngariom matoy rabul el gire la pelur belaw. Because this is our identity. Tiay gidi au ulak langar gidar other belaw. Kada rilara ocean e rilara ablu. Ya atoy ra omngariom la mabul au ule kadam la survival men mutela. You recall serabol close up order gidan bola kadial al may. E bola kaskogil may, hindi kakal mangaral may. Why did we survive? legidem lo sebe edel morae malubigad malngot takaledra siya uler wa Miss Clara el maklo sersir Emily. I think they realized it was in giredel investa asers ma arbitokl sa arabelam tumlom aswal was giredel si sakran gedel morae litia a livelihood ral sa giredel. Anyway, the moral of the story is you do a policy, dia kadil benefit el all time. You do a policy that will have an impact for the longest time. Iti ay gidel lumoriomer sanctuary, malubeng bull, akumdasen tara mal mosob aklia future generations gida arnalgeda martel role maralme. I mentioned the decision, if I can just relay, I'm proud of the decision clearly. Sera da kange lo sisabetrir, arangalgel belau malakal loiter outsider sera COVID. Believe me, it was the worst nightmare. El tedo para blur belau asin lakamol sisbar ngalaged let ma COVID lo yu lergit, gida mal madakter tiarakta. Ititrir melngar outside. Martedo ang abasya aku klemader ngalgamen so mamel bitartir malu. Me melakam. It was a very deliberate decision, but again, mamlo ngila consultation ergid lo three other hospital, our law enforcement, and we started what became known as the Palau COVID, the Palau model. El ngil titria ngalged el flyer til morakwam, hindi din mo ulsim ra hotel el mletelal Sunday dia ka communication or outside el mortir matira dia kan sabil tuwa el mlaniar mangkar. It isolated er segi de after ay gigi del amlete 10-day period they are toktang amlo test one by one. Make sure hindi kal COVID. And then nag arrange ra skogi matidim lara bus straight to the airport. Emro yung masa askogi emetenger belaw. Masira almay not a single one of them was COVID. Hindi mlakal sabil transmitter ngil morgid. I think in the end it was a win-win situation and mora rekla. Of course, akti share talo bangke. You know why ang loringi oru sergid ma aigal mask ma igir rogut lagadal. Even though dia kaskogil mlay ma dia ka adial lalmay. Milgara dolsi seba. Kudulangas radial o mangedra Taiwan o takal merbelaw. Really? It was hindi ka other mal malgor ni imagine tiadial o manged by low dra medical supplies mamsil mask akar egegi dating ilal may mang abelaw atat tirgel di COVID free. El practically sil time na the close dimla katal the close sa government tergid dimla katal may nasa hours sa other government schools health iglesia whatever went as en nga kaled do rit maradaw blue. I think we were a good example to the world wasing ay gagida nga ngir bela selba dadakal imol blue edom kakakak ledom daswil girela blue. A lot of good things can happen.
Madam Abu, the mal the last question, komen kora malungi la wrap up pergawe. I'm gonna ask a tough question. Kamilsa dara tel ula PhD ma impact ringin merkita at belaw. Alak alwi de tel bill ra PhD am introduced many times throughout your administration. Almon muter sera last term karaw era bumirga 2020 mang sepemel ko waiso say ngaram lek kakaro sa semel ang Michael Chancel blam mo dasal mo mrulo ngaram le ko ra the swimel gerel sen ko ten introduction ra ma tel ngaring lare nan time.
Saule, I think sel so kan clean mergida kasi ngaringay principles I would never agree to. I would never sign a legislation el taksakal marwa medicine. Yes, tial idea may have floated under administration rangak wa elbu laul but definitely it's not the same version. It's not the same version. Nga kadire kalya kumara nga tax rarwa government services igel mo uli. In fact, omsodel tial tax sa awanay ra implementation er tial tax. Dim lakal nga kamasa diri. Recall mer other journalist mlengo da omsodel la government ma actual application er tial tax rela. Having said that, ika nga kakngod al toy tial version el ang al introduce ringi tangak President Whips ya ulbila ko ngi nga saying ringin mo na adik PSL was I would not sign that same kind of version. Hindi tiagi da by cloud to tlele Mr. Klein. Sel the leader hindi ka ta dula setiamle the suela leilani malubang the suela Moses kardim erel wise. When you're a leader and you see that something needs to be done, egaruli for the sake of the people. Siya gisal elito tool malubeng sang selti al government. El dia kan react tel moray kal malobrao del ngararandir bulul. Again, hindi kal marer omdulo setiang mlara last administration tiang mlara tiang. A marer was should we do something? The answer yes. And as a responsible leader, I would hope somebody does something about this. Kita sem lo mongro ringi mengkuk am lo ringi sel kotel el supplemental ako kumlo ako tentilo bata 15,000 el morbab amerio ang matak suifan. Kada mongro ringi arbulu mo tuko ko sa clean mo 30,000. Kada mongro ringi mo mengkuk mo ringi aigal mo senior citizens. Breastfeeding tirgel from $100 to $200. Ngwal ko ra di reactive ikal band-aid solutions di some of these are about to carry on next year. Unless ang move to lots para budget. Again, am glad ko ger ngil nga ringa rumda sa setay nga kamle saying ngil mo la malubeng. Mr. Sadang. That's beside the point. Something needs to be done, and let's do something about it. And that's why we're running, because we intend to do something about it. Okay.
Yung mga nga mo breakdown the verdict.
Kung may gugadaan trigi will run over really akpay ngutel te al mal merenga asuli rogoy. Because you have helped to ask the very tough girel questions omoger on behalf of our other Palau. Especially kami young people. I think you're kung di ka mo metaka kung di chokyo, I mean, fast poll. Baby rata mi doon sa ngoy gidel ka berngil mo bdula adur de may. Hindi am klare kung ne-ask kay gal direct important question kada akmloragel sa ekalongyer. So thank you for that. Again, kami journalist, please be accurate in your reporting. Stay on course ra a fact ma lameltela toy. Ngari akuk editorial, ngari akuk opinion, disel news flash, agirel blakatakle, based ra fact, malmal toy. Siyablo ol ngira atram. But you are the fourth branch ra government. Maral, you keep everybody on their toes and should be. Abelaw atara ko tulungila iser ra Pacific. Likat nga niya Open Public Government Act, Open Government Act. El girel dia kabrot information del government withhold. And I would hope kung continue make sure I get necessary information umotob de randi ma miul adra media otob del mera, because it only makes us a better people, makes us a better policy makers, makes us a better island nation. Mang aktimal musum kung kami karel adam makti yolingit o maklat kergamiw. Leadership is not about age. Leadership is about the heart. Siya ako tel important criteria. You have to have the heart to help. You have the heart to listen, the heart to consult, the heart to involve everybody. Ako spe at tablol tokor belaw mo iwasel ti arur tergit. Agel tokor belaw adul ma ubu up. Up means you care. Adul means you find something to, if you care, you find a solution to match your caring. Ub udul gida adrur tergi akmaloring ita ngesor other belaw lo aktial media lo asebo podatak eda some clear luadar belaw ya rogul to adi ultu rubak mau deswiar other belaw Remengesau.